my YouTube channel is called Why Seekers.
Yeah.
I called it why because for me, W is wealth, and then H is happiness, and Y is you.
Okay, so if we know we're here and we know we want to get over here, most of us have huge goals. So from here to here seems impossible.
Right.
But it's so much easier to say, okay, I know I got to get over here, but forget all that. What is from here to here?
Right.
And that's where we set our goals.
So I like the fact that you're breaking the year's goal into quarters, and then you are giving an opportunity for people to recalibrate.
And ideally,
so Ninja Warriors is this fitness thing, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those obstacle course gyms.
Okay.
And you have to kind of go through it and jump and see how far you can get, and everybody competes.
Right. And then somebody joining something like Team 212, I see that there is no way that you'll come out of it saying, man, I wasted my time on it. I don't think it will ever happen if you join a community like Team 212, because thank you so much for joining me. You drove like what, 30-40 minutes to get here?
Yeah.
And I'm always inspired whenever you do your speeches at Toastmasters. You're always talking about transformation from where you've been to where you've come.
Yeah.
Most of the speeches that I've heard, you always talk about that.
Yeah.
Like how you changed from that. And I remember one speech that you made wherein it was like instant. They gave you a topic and you spoke for 7 minutes non-stop about it. All of those things just inspired me to know more about you, what you do, and this Team 212.
Okay.
So tell me everything about it.
Thank you. Well, that's a perfect intro, because transformation is, I don't even know if I did that purposefully, but that is the theme of kind of everything that I'm about. And Team 212, what 212 is all about is transformation. Because when you put water on a stove at 211 degrees, that water's simmering. But once it hits 212, that transforms into a boil. And like, if you think about water and the transformational properties of water, it can go from a solid to a liquid to a vapor instantly, depending on how much heat you put on it. So it's a transformation. That's like transformation just in the name. So that's what Team 212 stands for.
I mean, I love the example that you talked about. In the water, there is one old Indian movie wherein the murderer actually uses ice. He makes a knife out of ice. Basically, he creates something wherein he freezes and then he uses that weapon to kill. And the cops are unable to figure out how, like, what's the weapon of use, right? So ice, it can really be used for so many purposes. And in the example, you said it converts to steam, and then steam is used to really push a train even.
Yeah.
So the power of how the steam can be used and where the ice can be used, and if you just don't use water in a lukewarm thing, there is nothing. So the transformation is important. Okay, so Team 212, talk about that name and what it is. Why is it 212?
Well, 212 because of transformation. That's where 212 comes from. Well, first of all, I'll tell you what we do. We're a personal development community, and we get together every year and set goals at the beginning of the year, or at the end of the year, we get ready for the next year. And what's different about what we do is most communities get together, they set goals, and then they kind of like split apart, or maybe some members keep in touch. But the core of what we do is we stay accountable. And in our pods, in our groups, we share our goals with members of your pod, and then share what your action items are for the week. And then the following week we get back together and we share our progress, what we did. And if you didn't do the things that you said you were going to do, then we have consequences within the group. So those consequences are in the form of burpees, doing physical consequences, and then fines. So we actually have $50 that you have to pay to the group if you don't do your burpee or your goals.
So more or less, this is like a mastermind group wherein instead of typically the masterminds that I attended, because I was in real estate, mortgage and insurance business, therein like-minded professionals get together and we brainstorm ideas and then we kind of get into accountability do it. But looks like yours is people from different backgrounds coming together as you use the word community. So it's not like you are enforcing as the main coach for the entire group of people, but community is making each other accountable, right? Is that how
Right.
it is?
Exactly. Yeah. And absolutely. Like this isn't, like there is no main coach in this system. And it really is, we have people, in different areas of personal development, kind of not only being members, but also being coaches. So we actually split what we do, our goals up into 4 different categories or 4 different pillars. It's, family. So we have our family goals, finance. So that's our finance goals, or even like any kind of, job related goals, business goals. We have fitness, which is anything with health. And then we have fundamentals. And fundamentals is personal development, your personal development fundamentals. Or I like to also talk about or emphasize fun in fundamentals. And sometimes people have goals like, doing art projects or different hobbies that they've had. So that's what fundamentals would represent.
That's great. So you have all the F's figured out, right?
We
So
have the F.
it's good. People will know that they have to get their F's right away.
Yeah.
My YouTube channel is called Y Seekers.
Yeah.
I called it Y because for me, W is wealth, and then H is happiness, and Y is you. So improving wealth, happiness, and you. And it's a continuous process wherein we are trying to seek the end goal. For me, being in the mortgage and real estate and insurance business, we've helped a lot of families achieve their goals with financing. But then when I thought, okay, WHY, I thought H should be health actually. And then initially I thought health is important along with wealth. But then I have come to realize when I took a couple of steps back, actually happiness is more important than health, because happiness is a state of mind that defines your entire family, the life, the people around you. And if it is positive, then that trickles down into health, because health sometimes there is issues out of our hand. Sometimes you get sick or something. So that's why I call it happiness. But then I like the pillars that you guys have set with finances, with fitness, plus you also have your family goals in there.
Right.
Now, you set the goal once a year.
Yes.
Once a year.
No, we don't actually.
Okay.
I said at the beginning of the year, but it's actually a 12-week goal that we set in every area. So although we meet at the beginning of the year, we set our kind of big vision at the beginning of the year. What is our big vision for this year? And then we break that down into, okay, if we know we're here and we know we want to get over here, most of us have huge goals. So from here to here seems impossible.
Right.
But it's so much easier to say, okay, I know I got to get over here, but forget all that. What is from here to here?
Right.
And that's where we set our goals. So our big vision is over here for the year, but our quarter goals, we narrow it into a quarter, and we meet every quarter and reset that. So we kind of do a quarterly reset. And those quarterly resets could be an opportunity to completely redo your vision and say, you know what, this quarter I've been approaching this goal and I'm not enjoying it. So I'm going to just get rid of this and redo my vision. So that's what we do every quarter.
See, there is nothing wrong with people recalibrating on the goal. Sometimes people get stuck saying, oh, I shared my goal with everybody, my friends, my family. Now, how would they feel if I change it? But the reality of the matter is, even the example of a flight starting from Phoenix going into DC, even though you set the destinations as the same, depending on the external factors, the pilot keeps recalibrating it by 1 degree, 2 degrees. They have to do that to adjust to what the environment is, or what the new opportunity is, or what your level of interest and energy towards the goal is. And I like the fact that you're doing it every quarter, because I personally like to break it into as small chunks as possible for the goals. My friend Todd Brookspan, he came up with this idea of win by noon. So win by noon is a concept wherein he says you have to do the most important tasks of the day before 12 o'clock.
Okay.
So after 12, you do other stuff. And this falls into the same philosophy wherein they talk about marbles, right? I don't know if you know the story wherein they say if you have bunch of marbles of varied sizes to fit in a tumbler,
Right.
you have to pick the big stones first and then small marbles later on so that you can accommodate. Otherwise, if you do the marbles first, then the big stones might not fit.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that you're breaking the year's goal into quarters and then you are giving an opportunity for people to recalibrate. So do you guys meet every week?
Well, I want to go back to something you said that I thought was really poignant, about the breaking it down into the smallest chunks, and then specifically about before 12 o'clock, like win your day before 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's, I think, critical, winning the day before 12 o'clock. And that's actually one of the things I personally struggled with forever, because I always felt like, okay, I'm going to wait till I get all the stuff out of the way, and then I'm going to work on myself, and then I'm going to do my whatever learning education that I need to do to get out of where I'm at. But I found out that if you really want to make progress, you want to make that progress early in the morning, or at least early in your day, depending on what time you wake up based off your schedule. So what we actually do something in Team 212 around that. In these 4 categories, every day we have what's known as the C4, and these 8 habits, these daily habits that we do, that as a group, you have to get done before 11 o'clock. So we try to get it before, even a little bit before 12 o'clock. So we say, hey, by 11 o'clock, you have to have these things done. And if you don't hit the standard that we set at the beginning of the week, where we do have some leeway depending on what we have going on that week, but we set a target score, and if you don't hit that score, you also have consequences, just like missing your goals. And I want to go through them, but it's kind of a lengthy list of habits. But it's 8 habits in those 4 different categories that you do in the morning to get your day going. And the reason I say that is that concept of getting those big stones in the jar is something that, some of us have seen that video of the professor trying to do it, and then you visually see that big stone. And that's cool. But I think what's more important is when you feel what that big stone is, and when you feel what is important to you. And that's why every morning I like to journal on my goals, like write those goals down, just kind of based off how I feel, like not in a specific way where I have to say, here's my goal, but like, how do I feel about this goal? How am I feeling about it now? And that puts that big stone into focus in a way where I can feel it instead of just visualizing it. Do you know what I mean?
That's great. I mean, journaling is one of the fundamental foundations of any successful person who would be able to track the trajectory as to where they are heading.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had my journal from 3-4 years ago. If I read some of those, I clearly know that these are the same struggles that I had 3 years ago. And it brings into perspective that, hey, I never bothered to work on those in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so now I have to decide if that thing that I'm journaling is even significant for me. If it is significant, if I didn't do anything, then it's a good thing for us to refocus and recalibrate. I love masterminds, and I've participated in many masterminds over the years. But what you're talking about Team 212 is fascinating for me, is people from different backgrounds are coming together. That's going to bring outstanding perspective on different things that people are really focusing on. So do people share their goals?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. And so, well, those are 2 different questions. The answer is yes, we all share our goals. And actually, that's, I think, a big part of the magic is when you internally feel your goals, that's one thing. But when you share them and you share that with somebody else, you're making it a little bit more real. You're taking it one step further into making it an actual thing that you manifest.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you asked the question before that.
I was asking the question about, do people share the goals? That's number one. And
people from different backgrounds.
Different backgrounds.
Yeah, that's actually key. So we specifically, it's not a finance mastermind, it's not a health group, and it's not a family
Right.
community. It is all of those and all of them mixed. We have people who are working on their doctorates. We have computer scientists. We have relationship coaches. We have executive CEO coaches. We have people from all different backgrounds who the thing that they have in common is that they have big goals, first of all, but also that they want to balance it with everything else. They don't want to just go all in one area of their life.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, even when we are at Toastmasters, that's how I know you. You're an outstanding speaker in Toastmasters. We all come together and we are all speaking. We are not competing with each other. We are competing with our own self, wherein we want to be the most improved
Right.
from our speeches that we did maybe a year ago. That's why I'm big on recording my speeches to see how I'm improving. If you would have spoken to me maybe 6 months ago, you would have seen so many filler words in my conversations. And that pretty
Yeah.
much got wiped out once I started going to Toastmasters. I mean, it's a community group wherein people are helping each other and you get motivated by what people are doing.
Yeah.
And Team 212, what I like about it is it's a community. But how do you pull it off? Like, do people pay to get in, or tell me the logistics? Like, how are you guys able to maintain it?
Yeah, people pay to get in. We have membership fees. And then, part of it is the dues that come from people not hitting their goals goes into a bucket that we spend on events for the members. So a lot of what helps us stay kind of close is we do in-person events. We used to do dinners every quarter, and we still try to keep those up, the dinners. But now we're doing Ninja Warrior events. So where we're doing these like Ninja Warrior gym competitions, and we get that from people not hitting their goals. And ideally,
So Ninja Warriors is this fitness thing, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those obstacle course gyms.
Okay.
And you have to kind of go through it and jump and see how far you can get, and everybody competes. We try to do those fun events, and we get that from the members not hitting their goals. Ideally, everybody would hit their goals, and we would then just shrink down the events, maybe have not as big events. And that's logistically how we handle that piece of it, right? If everyone hits their goals, maybe we just have a pizza dinner in the park. But the way we grow the business is through membership dues.
Yeah. Membership dues. Okay. So now for people, I've seen you wearing the t-shirt, but I've never bothered to ask you what Team 212 is. Now I kind of get the concept of it. If somebody wants to know more,
Yeah.
So you have the website with all the information on the dues and how to get engaged. How much is the time commitment per week for a new member?
Well, we are opening up our community this coming quarter. So our community, the time commitment is as much as you want, because in the community, when we open up the community, it's going to be based on participation. So you're going to be basically adding your points, and if you want to score high points in the community, then you're basically doing your daily habits every day. You're contributing to accomplishing your goals, and that's one way. And that's up to you. But if you're going to join a full group, like be in it, it's a commitment. So we meet every week for an hour. And then every quarter we have a Saturday success seminar. These are optional, but these are kind of an hour and a half long educational seminars. We bring people from different areas. So every month it's somebody. Actually, I said every quarter, it's every month. Every month it's somebody in another one of these areas. So if you're in a group, the time commitment could be, you're probably talking about 2 hours a week minimum, just to kind of get into the system and do your habits, your daily habits. But everything you do contributes towards you becoming a better person, you transforming, you accomplishing your goals. So it's all your time.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like an inexpensive way to improve the focus that you have towards your goals. Because I've been through a lot of personality development seminars and programs. Like I paid a lot of people, Tony Robbins and all that. Those are like expensive programs.
Right.
And compared to that, I mean, there you get like a big download of things that you could do. It's more like the prescription of what you have to do.
Right.
And those prescriptions wane away very quickly. But what I love about 212 is you guys are meeting regularly, and then you're able to help people inside the community on doing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
One thing I want to say is another difference in what you just said is we help people accomplish the things that they come with. So you bring your goals.
You bring your goals.
You bring your
That's
goals,
even better.
and then we help you accomplish them.
That's terrific. So I've met you about 6 months ago. When I met you 6 months ago to now, I see a huge improvement in how you are as a person, right? So how would you like describe yourself and what's your dream in the next 5 years? Where do you see yourself?
Wow, that's a big question. In the next 5 years, where do I see myself? My dream, I don't know where I see myself in the next 5 years, but I can tell you my dream, and it started when I was a little kid. My grandpa would take me with him to his different client visits. He would sell machinery at machine shops and work with mechanics, and he would basically sell big machinery for their shops. And anytime he showed up, they would welcome him by yelling, Don Genaro! And just cheer him on and bring him to the back and introduce him to everybody, and everybody loved him. And, as I grew, I tried to mimic him by being an entrepreneur. I started my first lemonade shop. I did my first lawn mowing. I would go door to door selling candies. I, made bootleg CDs in high school. So that's my dream, is just being an entrepreneur.
Create something.
Right. Creating something and then seeing how whatever I'm creating changes other people's lives. And really, for right now it's Team 212. But even outside of that, 5 years from now, it could be a bakery. It could be a coffee shop. I love coffee. I would love to open up a coffee shop. That's probably my dream. There you go.
That's awesome, because I own few businesses in the past, and I can tell you that the concepts, the fundamentals, and the operations, how we do it, how we interact with people is the same regardless of the business. So be it at the hospice that we own or family fund center, coming down to insurance company, mortgage company, real estate company, the fundamentals are the same. And if you're an entrepreneur with the right fundamentals, you can easily transition from one business to the other. That's what I found that I was able to do. But still there are so many rough edges in us, and there is never a wrong time to start improving yourself. And an opportunity to join Toastmasters really changed my life, because like I told you, my vocabulary has improved. The way I talk improved because of Toastmasters. I've seen other people talking so well and I got inspired. And then somebody joining something like Team 212, I see that there is no way that you'll come out of it saying, man, I wasted my time on it. I don't think it will ever happen if you join a community like Team 212, because everybody is coming together to help each other and everybody is coming in with their own goals.
Yeah. So Toastmasters has been a big transformational community for me as well. And I think for me, Toastmasters is kind of like a good entry point into personal development. If anyone's interested into personal, like just kind of dipping their toes in there.
That's a great place.
That's a great place.
Oh, I totally agree. Do you have any closing words? How can people get in touch with you and Team 212, and how can they get engaged?
Yeah, Team 212, myteam212.com. That's where you can subscribe to the newsletter. And the newsletter is the community. So when you subscribe to the newsletter, you are joining the community, and then you can get access to the Discord server and then meet everybody.
Great. So if you want to improve, I would highly suggest you do 2 action items. One is try to join a Toastmasters that's close to you.
Yeah.
And then get plugged into this Team 212. I'm going to check it out. Thank you so much, Hugo.
Yeah.
We'll see you on the other side.
Yeah, see you on the other side.